You know, I still can't believe it happened. There are days I wake up and wonder if it was all a bizarre, incredibly painful dream. But then I see the way things are now, and I know it was brutally real. My dad, the man who always taught me about honesty and standing up for myself, looked me dead in the eye and said, "Apologize or leave." He actually said that to me, his own son, over something I didn't even do. But here's the kicker. Right then, in front of our entire family, my sister, my sweet, innocent-looking sister, broke down and admitted she framed me. Can you even imagine that? Would you have stayed? Would you have been able to forgive? Tell me if you would have done the same thing, because honestly, I'm still wrestling with it. It all started subtly, almost innocuously, about 6 months ago. My sister, Clara, and I have always had a complicated relationship. She's 2 years younger than me, and for most of our lives, it felt like she was the golden child, the one who could do no wrong. I was the rebellious one, the one who always questioned things, the one who got into trouble, which usually just meant disagreeing with my parents. Our dad, Robert, is a successful businessman, a self-made man who values order and respect above almost everything else. My mom, Sarah, is the peacemaker, always trying to smooth things over, often to her own detriment. Clara, on the other hand, was the picture of obedience, always getting good grades, always volunteering, always saying the right thing. Or so we all thought. The first incident was minor, almost forgettable in isolation. My dad's vintage watch, a Patek Philippe that was his pride and joy, went missing from his study. He was frantic. I mean, this watch was practically an heirloom, something he planned to pass down. Everyone was searching, tearing the house apart. I remember him looking at me, just a fleeting glance, but it stuck with me. Like he already suspected something. I helped search, genuinely concerned, and eventually, Mom found it tucked away in a drawer in the living room, a place no one would think to put it. Dad dismissed it as him being forgetful, but there was an undercurrent of tension. I didn't think much of it at the time, but looking back, it was the opening act of a much darker play. Things escalated with my dad's new golf clubs. He's an avid golfer, and these weren't just any clubs. They were custom, fitted, top of the line, and cost more than my first car. He kept them in a locked cabinet in the garage, a place only he, and sometimes I, if I was helping him with something, had access to. One afternoon, he came back from a game, fuming. He said one of his drivers was bent, completely ruined. He was beside himself. He immediately went to the cabinet, checked the lock, and then turned to me. "Did you touch my clubs, Mark?" he asked, his voice dangerously low. I swore I hadn't. I hadn't even been in the garage that day. But he didn't believe me. He pointed out that I was the only one with a spare key, which he had given me months ago for emergencies. He showed me the bent club, and it looked deliberately damaged, like someone had stomped on it. I felt a cold knot in my stomach. The way he looked at me, it wasn't just suspicion. It was an accusation. Mom tried to mediate, saying it could have been an accident, or maybe someone else. But Dad was convinced. He grounded me for a month, no allowance, no going out with friends. I was furious, not just because of the punishment, but because he so readily believed I was capable of something so malicious. Clara, of course, was sympathetic, offering me her Netflix password and sneaking me snacks. I thought she was being a good sister. God, I was so naive. The pattern continued. Small things at first, then larger ones. My dad's important documents, sales contracts, would be slightly out of order on his desk. His favorite coffee mug would mysteriously break. One time, someone accidentally deleted a crucial presentation from his laptop, and because I was the most tech-savvy in the house, the blame fell squarely on me. Each incident chipped away at my relationship with my dad, creating a chasm of mistrust. I tried to defend myself, to explain, to point out the inconsistencies, but it was like talking to a wall. He would just shake his head, disappointment etched on his face, and say, "Mark, why do you always have to make things so difficult? Just admit it and we can move on." It was infuriating. Mom was caught in the middle, visibly distressed, but she rarely challenged Dad directly. Clara was always there, a comforting presence, often whispering things like, "It'll blow over, Mark, just ride it out." I hated it. I hated feeling like the family pariah, the constant source of trouble, when inside I knew I was innocent. I started spending more time out of the house, feeling alienated and misunderstood. My grades began to slip, a direct result of the stress and the constant tension at home. My dad saw this as further proof of my irresponsibility. It was a vicious cycle. The climax, or perhaps the breaking point, arrived during my parents' anniversary party. It was a big affair, held at our house, with extended family, close friends, and some of my dad's business associates. The house was decorated beautifully, a catered meal, everything perfect. My mom had been planning it for months. My dad was giving a toast, recounting memories, laughing, and everyone was in high spirits. It was a rare moment of peace, almost making me forget the underlying tension. Then disaster struck. As he finished his toast and everyone was clapping, a loud crash came from the living room. We all rushed in to find a huge, ornate vase, a family heirloom that had been passed down for generations, shattered on the floor. It was in pieces, completely beyond repair. My mom let out a small cry. My dad's face hardened immediately. And there, beside the broken vase, was a small, engraved silver letter opener asterisk, my asterisk letter opener. A gift from my grandparents for my high school graduation. It was unmistakable. A hush fell over the room. All eyes, it felt like hundreds, turned to me. My dad's face was a mask of cold fury. "Mark," he said, his voice cutting through the silence, "explain yourself." I was stunned. My heart was pounding, a mixture of fear and pure, unadulterated rage. I hadn't been in the living room since before the guests arrived. I hadn't touched that letter opener in weeks. It was a setup. I knew it in my gut, but how could I prove it? Who would believe me now? All the previous incidents, the watch, the golf clubs, the deleted files, they all flashed before my eyes, culminating in this devastating moment. Everyone was watching, judging. My aunts and uncles, my cousins, my dad's business partners. The shame was suffocating. I tried to speak, but no words came out. So that's the situation I was in, completely cornered, branded as the family screw-up in front of everyone we knew. And I had to make a choice. Do I swallow my pride, apologize for something I didn't do, just to appease my dad and diffuse the situation? Or do I stand my ground, knowing it might mean being disowned, cast out? Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Seriously, put yourself in that moment, with all those eyes on you, and tell me, what would your next move be? The silence stretched, thick and unbearable. My dad took a deep breath, his chest heaving. "Mark, I'm waiting. This is unacceptable. You will apologize to your mother, to me, and to everyone here for ruining this evening, or you will leave this house and not come back until you are ready to take responsibility for your actions." His words were like daggers, each one twisting in my gut. I looked at my mom, her eyes brimming with tears, her face a mixture of sadness and pleading. I looked at Clara, who was standing a little behind my parents, her face pale, almost as if she was about to cry herself. And something in her expression, a flicker of something I couldn't quite place, just a micro expression of guilt, maybe fear, caught my attention. It was so subtle, so quick, that if I hadn't been so aware, so desperate for any asterisk answer, I would have missed it. That flicker, that tiny crack in her facade, ignited a spark of clarity in my mind. All the small incidents, the way things were always found in places I wouldn't put them, the convenient timing of each accident. It was too perfect, too consistent. Suddenly, Everything clicked into place with horrifying precision. My own sister, the golden child, the sympathetic one, had been systematically sabotaging me. I met my dad's gaze, my voice shaking with a mixture of anger and disbelief. "I won't apologize, Dad," I said, my voice barely a whisper but clear in the silent room. "Because I didn't do it, any of it. Not the watch, not the golf club, not the presentation, and certainly not this vase. And I think," I continued, my voice gaining strength as I locked eyes with Clara, who visibly flinched, "I think someone else did." The room buzzed with murmurs. My dad's face darkened further. "Don't you dare try to shift blame, Mark. This is your last chance." "No," I said, taking a step forward, my gaze still fixed on Clara. "I won't, because I know who did. Don't I, Clara?" All eyes swiveled to her. She looked like a deer in headlights, her face draining of color, her lips trembling. My mom looked from me to Clara, a dawning horror in her eyes. My dad, however, just scoffed. "Mark, what are you talking about? Leave your sister out of this." "Dad," I pleaded, my voice breaking. "Think about it. Every single incident, who was always there, who always tried to comfort me after you punished me, who had access to everything in this house, who knew exactly where to put my letter opener to frame me perfectly." I pointed at the shattered vase, then at the letter opener. That letter opener was on my desk in my room. It would have taken someone deliberately going into my room, taking it, and then bringing it down here to place it. Who else but someone who wanted me to take the fall? Clara was shaking now, tears welling in her eyes, but not the innocent tears I was used to. These were tears of panic, of being exposed. She tried to deny it, a strangled sound escaping her throat. "No, Mark, how could you? How could you accuse me?" "Because it's true, isn't it, Clara?" I pressed, feeling a strange mix of vindication and profound sadness. "All those times you enjoyed watching me get blamed, didn't you? You enjoyed being the good one, the perfect one, while I was the black sheep." And then she broke. The dam burst. A loud, guttural sob escaped her, and she crumpled, sinking to her knees right there on the pristine living room carpet, surrounded by shattered porcelain. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry," she wailed, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't mean for it to go this far. I just wanted Dad to see. I just wanted you to get in trouble for once. I hated how he always praised you, even when you messed up. He always had a soft spot for you, but with me, it was never enough. I just wanted him to see you differently. I wanted him to love me more." The confession hung in the air, thick with shock and disbelief. My dad stood frozen, his jaw slack, his eyes wide, staring at his golden child, sobbing on the floor. My mom gasped, covering her mouth with her hand, tears now freely flowing down her cheeks. The guests were stunned into silence, a mix of horror and pity on their faces. It was a scene straight out of a soap opera, but it was our lives, brutally laid bare. My dad knelt beside Clara, not in comfort, but in utter bewilderment. He tried to get her to explain, to understand the depth of her confession. She recounted everything between sobs, how she'd taken the watch and put it in the living room drawer, knowing Mom would eventually find it there, how she'd snuck into the garage and bent the golf club with a wrench she found in the toolbox, then made sure to leave my spare key subtly visible near the cabinet, how she'd messed with Dad's documents, and yes, how she'd deliberately deleted the presentation, knowing I'd be the prime suspect. And the vase, she admitted she had hidden my letter opener in her pocket, waited for the perfect moment during the toast when everyone was distracted, and then pushed the vase herself, planting the opener nearby, knowing the chaos would make it seem like an accident I caused. She claimed she didn't intend for it to break, just to scare everyone, but the force of her push was too much. It was all a twisted, desperate cry for attention, for validation that she felt she wasn't getting, overshadowed by what she perceived as my dad's favoritism, even when I was trouble. The aftermath was complicated. The party dissolved into an awkward, silent departure of guests. My parents were devastated, not just by Clara's actions, but by the realization of how deeply they had misunderstood both their children. My dad, who had always prided himself on his judgment, looked utterly broken. He apologized to me, profoundly and repeatedly, his voice choked with emotion. He said he felt like a fool, that he had failed me as a father. My mom hugged me so tightly I thought my ribs would crack, crying into my shoulder, saying she was so sorry she hadn't stood up for me more. Clara was sent to therapy, of course. It was a long, arduous road for her, uncovering years of repressed feelings of inadequacy and a desperate need for approval that had manifested in such a destructive way. Our family went to family counseling. It was tough, raw, and painful. We talked about favoritism, about communication breakdowns, about the pressure Clara felt, and the resentment I harbored. It was an excavation of all the unspoken truths and festering wounds. My relationship with my dad is slowly mending. He's trying, really trying, to listen more, to see things from my perspective. He's learning that outward obedience doesn't always equal inner peace. And he's working on showing Clara the unconditional love and validation she clearly craved, but in a healthy way. With Clara, it's still very delicate. I haven't completely forgiven her. The betrayal cut too deep, the years of feeling like an outsider, the constant accusations. But I'm trying to understand, to separate the girl who wanted her dad's love from the sister who deliberately hurt me. We're in a fragile truce, taking baby steps towards some semblance of a normal sibling relationship. It's not easy, and some days I still feel that sting of betrayal. But we're a family, broken and flawed, but trying to heal. So, that's my story, a testament to how even within the closest bonds, deep, seated issues can fester and explode in the most unexpected ways. Life is messy, and people are complicated, even the ones you think you know best. If you were on my side, if you felt my frustration and my pain, please like this video. And if you've ever felt misunderstood or wrongly accused, subscribe for more stories like this. Share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section below. How would you have reacted? What would you have done differently? I'm genuinely curious to hear your perspectives. I'll see you all in the next story.